As the church treasurer, I regret to inform you that our giving was down again this month. So it looks like we're just going to have to pull more funds from our endowment to pay our bills.
I knew it. The church is going to close. We're going to die. We just need to get more people in here.
Oh, we could get more people. We need a new digital sign out front and maybe an upgrade to our sound system, and we got to increase our web presence, and then, we could do some rebranding and send out postcards to everybody in a 20-mile radius. It'd be easy.
Love your optimism. I'm worried about your math. Where exactly are we going to get the money for all of that?
Right.
Exactly. I knew it. We're going to die. This church is going to close, and what a shame it's going to be. My mother spent so much time here. My mother's mother did so much. My mother's mothers did so much in this church, in this their beloved church.
Or, maybe we try something that doesn't cost any money. Like, I don't know, maybe we could change our worship time or sing some new hymns or look into, becoming one of those UCC churches with all the acronyms.
Yeah. No. Change. That's a difficult word in the church. It's going to cost us members because nobody likes to change. People are just going to run out the door and they're not going to look back. They'll find someplace else, but great idea, genius.
Oh, okay, Boomer. No need to be rude.
Boomer?
Well, you're the pastor. Aren't you supposed to tell us what to do?
Yeah. Maybe you've been a part of a meeting like that. Like maybe you've been that treasurer who's worried about the church's finances. Or maybe you've been that person worried about the church's viability. Maybe you've been that person full of lots and lots of ideas except for how to implement any of them. Or maybe you've been that pastor caught in the middle of it and kind of in the hot seat. Many of us have been a part of church meetings like that are frustrating because they raise lots and lots of questions and not much more in the way of answers other than some hurt feelings. In this How to Church video, a series being put together by the local Congregational Support Working Group and the Congregational Vitality Teams of the Penn Northeast Conference, we're going to look at an alternative to meetings like that, a different approach by utilizing our conference's coaching ministry. In this video, we'll learn what the coaching ministry does, how the coaching ministry could help your congregation, and how you could get connected to a coach. So, let's learn how to church and see what coaching ministry can do for you.
Church. My name is Michelle Funk, and I am the coaching coordinator for the Penn Northeast Conference Coaching Ministry. And you might have a lot of questions. What is coaching? First of all, let me tell you what coaching is not. Coaching is not someone coming in and telling you as a congregation or an individual what you should do. They don't have all the answers. You have the answers. What a coach will do is a coach will ask powerful questions and clarifying questions that will help you to determine the best way to move forward in whatever situation you are in. Now, coaches ask a lot of questions. When we think about this from a biblical perspective, we think about how Jesus asked so many questions. Jesus didn't really give a lot of answers if you think about it. What Jesus did was allowed the people to think for themselves. And a coach is sort of like that. A coach helps the congregations and individuals to think for themselves and to come up with their own way forward, their own path forward. Now, also, what a coach will do is they will be an accountability partner. So throughout the coaching process, you will come up with action steps, and your coach will walk with you, beside you, during the coaching process and help you with some accountability. Coaches are a wonderful tool for all of our congregations. They can help with so many things like strategic planning. They can help with vision and mission. If you're relooking at your constitution and bylaws, individually, if you are a pastor, they can help you with your ministry, or maybe you're a president of a congregation. They can help you in that position. There's so many options available for coaching. So why don't you call us and let us see if we can help you with your situations in your congregation.
Hi, I'm the Reverend Virginia Schlegel, St. John's UCC Mickley's in Whitehall, and I've been part of the coaching process. I was the coachee.
And I'm Reverend Mac Orcus, and I am one of the coaches on the conference's coaching team. So, V, what made you and Mickley's decide to want to get a coach?
We've had some issues over the years. One is we're a graying congregation, and a lot of our members are starting to die off, and we don't have people coming in to kind of fill the void. Also, we were looking at, are we staying open? Are we going to close? Or are we going to find someone to join us, whether it be a separate congregation with a separate worship time or meet together as one? Were some of the things that led us to fill out an application and mail it in and get a coach.
And so the way that I ended up getting connected with you is on that application you filled out, you put some of the things that you felt like you were going to want to work on, and one of the things that you put on there was about revitalization and new life kind of stuff. And all of the coaches in the conference have sort of, I don't want to say they're specialties, but areas of what coaching can focus on that they feel most comfortable coaching on. And revitalization happens to be one of the ones that sort of is in my toolbox. And so they said, hey, we need a church that wants revitalization stuff. You kind of like doing revitalization stuff. What do you think about going and working with this church? So that's how we ended up getting paired together.
And I'm just very happy with everything that went on during the coaching process. You helped us to think outside the box. And try new things. And I think the biggest one for us was we did an atypical Lent. We did not follow the lectionary during Lent. Instead, what we did was we let the congregation lead the way. We asked them to write down on strips of paper topics that they would like the pastor to preach on. And I got some very interesting responses, and it was probably, without meaning to be like a sermon series, it was a really, really cool experience, not only for me, because it took me out of my wheelhouse of preaching the lectionary all the time, to touching on topics that were important to the congregation. And they loved it, and I really liked it too. So thank you.
Yeah. No, and I remember when we first started sitting down on some of our first meetings, because of just how broad you were sort of looking at the church's situation and what it was, we spent probably the first few meetings just trying to figure out how do we narrow this coaching focus in a way that we can figure out a direction to go with it. And I know that I think it was great from sort of where I was sitting, that we were able to include the congregation, even though they weren't there in those coaching sessions, to get their input into the direction that the coaching ended up taking. I think that was one of the things that sort of the decisions that we made together in the coaching piece of it that I think really benefited in the end is that we were able to keep going back to the congregation each time after we met and kind of get their own feedback, their own input into continuing sort of where we were going with the coaching.
And that's true, because through that conversation we had a member and his family came up with this wonderful idea and they led the way on it, and it was called a free, to me, book giveaway. We had a lot of people donating books to us. They took the time to sort them by categories. As people came in, they wrote down emails, addresses to say, hey, we'll let you know when other functions are coming up for the church. And people came in and they wanted to pay for the books, and we said, no, they're free. You take what you want. And that was a wonderful experience, and it brought in a lot of the community. And we were excited that people were coming and learning about the church without learning about the church. Because we didn't want to force religion down their throat. It was just, here we are, this is what we're doing, thank you for coming.
So, I mean, I know I have a sense just from sitting across the table and kind of seeing the journey that we went on together of sort of what from point A to point B, but I'm interested, what do you feel like the church got out of the coaching experience? Like, is there a takeaway that you say, oh man, this is what coaching did for us?
Well, sure. What you said, like revitalization, I think there's a new energy in the church. The congregation's being more on board with some of the ideas and activities that we're trying to do, where before it was always, we've always done it this way, or not me, I did my time, I need to relax, let somebody else younger do it. But we're not there anymore. We're at, how can I help? Do you need help? And that's been very refreshing, especially since we have a big anniversary coming up. And for a while I felt like myself and 2 other people were doing all the work. And now I have a congregation that is excited about it and really helping to get the thing organized. Yeah. So that's been like a godsend for us.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that's great to hear. And like looking at it from where I was at the table, I think one of the things that I was proudest of sort of what we were able to accomplish is getting the church from a place where it felt like the possibilities were too many, or there's too many possible answers, to being able to hone in on areas that were the most ripe for change, for new opportunities, for trying different things that the congregation would be open to. And I think that's what we were able to identify. And part of the reason that I think you're saying there's so much excitement is we were able to sort of narrow down and focus on things that had the best chance of success and the best chance of positive and congregation feeling good and energetic about. And it's great to hear that is still, you still have that energy. So
yeah. And the energy is wonderful. It's contagious.
Good. Great. Well, thanks, V, and appreciate it.
After hearing the perspectives of a coach and a coachee, I am sure you are ready to call the conference and get a coach coming to your congregation. How do you do that? It's very easy. Just go on the Penn Northeast Conference website. There is a coaching tab you will find there. Scroll down, there's more information if you forget any of the information in this video, and there is a link to an application. Fill out that application, it will get submitted to the conference office and myself, and we will find a coach that would be suitable for your congregation and your needs.
You know, Pastor, I think that sounds like a really good idea. I think maybe we should reach out to conference and see if they have a coach that would come work with us and help us sort through what's going on and maybe explore what our options are and help us see things from a different angle.
Yeah, I like that. But how much is it going to cost?
Well, based on what Pastor was saying, I think since we've been contributors to OCWM, it only costs us $35 an hour.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not bad. I was expecting more.
Well, I mean, if we hadn't been contributing to OCWM, it would have been $70 an hour. But I mean, either way, I feel like the potential benefit outweighs the cost if it can help us.
Well, that's true.
That is
Very true.
And they're going to come in and tell us all the right answers and things that we need to do?
I mean, it didn't sound like that, but it sounded like they'll ask us some good questions and help us figure out what's right for us or what next steps we should take.
Well, that seems fair.
Yeah.
It does.
So our church won't die. They're going to make sure our church doesn't die and we don't have to close?
I mean, I don't know that they can guarantee that. But I think what the coach will do is come in and help us figure out what it means for us to be a faithful church and maybe worry less about dying. And maybe that's the shift in focus that we need.
Maybe that's the hope that we need.
Yeah. So we're going to get a coach?
We're going to get a coach.
Yes.
Gorgeous.